Only the Conqueror's Haki can effectively damage the God's Knights, slowing down that absurd pseudo-immortality they carry as if it were a given right. And that raises the unavoidable question, what's left for the rest of the Straw Hats? What happens to the entire crew when the final enemy of the arc simply laughs at any attack that isn't infused with this extremely rare Haki? When we say the Straw Hats are stuck without Conqueror's Haki, it doesn't mean they all need to start shooting black lightning out of their pores. That would be the laziest thing Eiichiro Oda could do. And he's not lazy, he's overloaded, which is different. The series was originally planned to last 5 years. Oda himself left a message in the Wano arc saying new fans could start there, because it was the beginning of the original story he had planned from the start. Everything before that went beyond what he had imagined, and that explains a lot of the narrative awkwardness we feel, but struggle to name. Don't forget to smash that like button, it really helps out the channel. The introduction of Haki was embryonic for a long time. Luffy was already using something similar to observation Haki back in his fight against Kuro. Zoro was breathing with all things. Shanks intimidated people with sheer presence since Windmill Village. But the explanation, the real development, came late, from around chapter 500 onward, and it caused confusion even in Marineford, one of the most important battles in the series. Nico Robin went years without confirmed Devil Fruit details. Awakenings came abruptly for several characters, and Zoro became so unbalanced that Oda had to put him in one of the worst fights of his career, against Rob Lucci and Egghead, just to keep him occupied without breaking the narrative balance. It's the elephant in the room. Everyone sees it, no one likes to talk about it, but it needs to be said. Now, the central point. Aside from the monster trio, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, the rest of the crew is stuck in a progression limbo that bothers anyone paying attention. Usopp still pulls out the same skull-shaped seed. Frankie still fires pre-timeskip pacifista lasers. And that's a problem, because they are the crew of a Yonko, the companions of the future Pirate King. When you look at the Rock's pirates, you feel the aura. The Roger pirates, you feel the aura. The red-haired pirates, you feel the aura. Look at the Straw Hats as a whole today, and the monster trio carries everything. The rest just float. And I'm not saying they need a classic 2-year time skip. No, Oda was smart enough to leave a perfect way out. We still haven't seen the Straw Hats fully use everything they learned during the original time skip. So the most elegant path is simple. A flashback, a mentor's memory, a moment of realization in battle, and done. The power that was dormant blooms at the right time. That's established shonen language, and One Piece uses it very well when it wants to. But there's another possibility that excites me far more than a standard flashback, and this is where things get really interesting. In chapter 1122, Oda revealed that Joy Boy stored his Haki in a knotted rope, a rope. He literally crystallized willpower, energy, Conqueror's Haki, into a physical object, and it worked like a delayed bomb that exploded centuries later in Egghead. Now think about this. Gabon is an Elbaf. Gabon shredded sheep's head in the past like paper. The Roger pirates beat the God's Knights in God Valley when they tried to take Shanks back. This man carries decades of experience and a level of Haki mastery we've barely scratched the surface of. What if Gabon can transfer part of his Conqueror's Haki to the Straw Hats? Not awaken it in them, but share it, infuse it into their weapons, carve it into runic symbols on their blades, engrave it into their battle tools? Elbaf is the land of giants, a realm of runes and ancestral symbols. The theme is already set. The idea of a king who not only oppresses his enemies but also elevates his allies is something Conqueror's Haki itself seems to demand. A conqueror doesn't rule alone, he inspires. And if Conqueror's Haki can be shared, like energy was shared in Naruto, like chakra was distributed among the allied shinobi forces in the Fourth Great War, why couldn't One Piece do the same with its own system? In fact, notice this. The God's Knights already do it. Their immortality comes from Imu, and that regenerative energy is distributed among all 5 of them. It's a power-sharing system that already exists canonically. The hero's version could be a direct mirror of that. Now let's go character by character, because each one has a clear path based on what's already been established. Nami already has her final upgrade since Wano Zeus fused with the Klimatact, making the staff an extension of the weather itself. She hasn't pushed it to its limits yet. She can potentially create storms over entire countries, like Big Mom did in Whole Cake. What she lacks is something that would make her area attacks even deadlier, a basic form of observation Haki, a 6th sense that perfectly matches her natural climate sensitivity. It wouldn't be hard for Oda to introduce this, and it would make her a real long-range support threat. Chopper is the one who most needs to show evolution. He's still treated like a pet. His bounty is a joke, and Monster Point has become obsolete. The awakening of the Rumble Ball is the natural path, with transformations beyond anything we've seen. But what would truly be groundbreaking is Chopper using armament Haki. In all of One Piece, there's not a single canonical instance of an animal using this type of Haki. That would be unprecedented. The moment the world realizes the Straw Hat's doctor isn't a cute mascot, but a force of nature. Usopp has the clearest and most underestimated setup in the entire series. He lied about having Conqueror's Haki when Luffy used it on Fishman Island. He lied again in Wano when Big Mom used it, claiming that power was his. And in One Piece, Usopp's lies become reality. That's not coincidence, that's flashing neon foreshadowing. Usopp with Conqueror's Haki would be the biggest plot twist in the crew, and Oda planted that seed years ago. Combine that with Future Sight, which his father Yasopp seems to master, and you get the most terrifying sniper on the seas. Frankie's power ceiling lies in Pluton's blueprints. The destruction of the Shogun by Sasaki in Wano was a clear message. That version is outdated. The next version will be built from the Thousand Sunny. His latest bounty poster features the ship, and that's not a joke. It's a hint at fusion. Frankie plus, Sunny plus, Pluton blueprints, Branks island-level destructive capability. Observation Haki for better targeting? A nice bonus, but honestly, large-scale destruction might make it unnecessary. Robin has the most potentially powerful devil fruit in the entire series, and that's not an exaggeration. She clashed with Big Mom in Wano. The awakening of the Hana Hana no Mi will allow her to sprout limbs from surrounding objects, turning any environment into her domain. But the real issue we saw against Black Maria is that damage to those limbs reflects back on her. Armament Haki solves that. A Robin with advanced armament and an awakened fruit is simply immeasurable in power. And the idea of her creating physical clones of herself, an army of Robins merged into a giant body, is one of the most terrifying possibilities the manga has hinted at. Brook has developed the Yomi Yomi no Mi more than any other crew member has developed their fruit. He went from a cold soul swordsman to the Soul King, controlling temperature, spirits, and death itself. His natural awakening would be temporarily reviving other souls. Imagine Brook conducting an orchestra of skeletons and ghosts in battle, a requiem that brings enemies down. And if the fruit works the way we theorize, he might even pull souls directly from the underworld. Jinbe is the most experienced and the easiest to recalibrate. He fought Akainu at Marineford. He has absolute mastery of Fishman Karate, a secret high-cost technique like Guy's 8 Gates combined with advanced armament Haki would be the upgrade he deserves. The foundation is already there. Oda just needs to pull the trigger. The final point is this: a classic time skip isn't necessary and won't happen right now. Luffy already said they shouldn't stay too long and Elbaf time flows differently there, but that opens a window. A time chamber, accelerated training in a temporal bubble, or simply the awakening of everything they've already learned but never shown. Any of these paths works. Basic Haki for the entire crew is the minimum we need to see. Not Conqueror's Haki, not Black Lightning everywhere, just the basics. Real, functional armament and observation that make them stop looking like guests in an adult fight and start being what they should have been since Wano, the most feared crew on the seas. Because right now, the Straw Hat's name is carried by Luffy, Zoro catching up, and Sanji likely awakening Conqueror's Haki soon. The rest of the crew needs to exist as a real threat, not as characters the narrator has to pull out of the panel when things get serious. Oda has the paths. We just hope he chooses the right ones. Appreciate you watching till the end. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and check out this video I picked just for you.